Holy crap! It exploded! It exploded, Mom! Something went boom.
And indeed, it was far more than just a minor uptick or a fleeting moment of prosperity. It was by all accounts and measures a truly serious and profound boom. This wasn't merely a slight improvement in economic indicators or a temporary surge in market confidence. Instead, it represented a period of sustained and significant growth characterized by widespread expansion across various sectors, robust investment, and a palpable sense of optimism permeating through the entire economy. The term serious here underscores the depth and magnitude of this economic expansion, indicating that its effects were deeply felt and had a lasting impact. It implies a boom that was not only substantial in its financial metrics, but also transformative in its societal and industrial implications, leading to considerable advancements and shifts. Such a boom typically involves a rapid increase in production, employment, and trade, often fueled by innovation, new technologies, or significant policy changes. The sheer scale of this boom meant that it touched nearly every aspect of life, from individual livelihoods to national infrastructure, marking a distinct and memorable era of unprecedented growth and opportunity. It was a period where economic activity surged, creating new wealth and fundamentally altering the landscape of commerce and industry.
And it was serious? That's crazy.
The region immediately declared a drone danger alert, and Russians had their mobile networks cut off. They said, "Brace for explosions and don't film anything."
Residents of the settlements of Dubasovo and Bekovo spotted the drone in the sky. This became known from messages in local chats.
The Russian Ministry of Defense, as usual, reported the successful destruction of an entire swarm of Ukrainian drones, and not just over the Penza region.
8 over the waters of the Black Sea, 2 over the territory of Belgorod region, 2 over the territory of the Republic of Crimea, 1 over the territory of Penza region, and 1 over the territory of Kursk region.
However, that's not all. In the morning, drones also visited the Belgorod region. There, it was a real blizzard. Pekin also came under attack. Governor Gladkov made a worrying statement.
In Belgorod, 2 people were injured during the fall of debris from a downed drone. A car was damaged. Information about other consequences is being clarified. Emergency services are working at the scene.
However, for the Russians, things are never normal. The air defense worked in such a way that it hit a residential building. A shocking video was posted online. But maybe it's all just because of stress? Russian public channels are sounding the alarm that in the coming days, Russia will be engulfed in hell. According to intelligence, Ukrainian drones will strike in ways they can't even imagine.
From tonight until the 7th of December 2025 inclusive, the enemy is preparing a massive UAV attack targeting the central regions of Russia and Moscow.
Meanwhile, 41,000 Russians have been left without water in Maloyaroslavets, Kaluga region.
A main water pipeline burst in the region overnight. The city has been without water since 6 a.m. The authorities recommended suspending the operation of kindergartens and public kitchens.
According to Russian social media channels, local residents are panicking. Water supplies are running out in vending machines and stores. A full-blown apocalypse continues on enemy territory. Nizhny Novgorod is without power. That's the kind of chaos that was happening there. Local residents are posting videos of explosions near the village of Volkovets. A substation caught fire. This moment was captured on video. It was as if it was struck by lightning. In an instant, a massive fire broke out. in darkness but with optimism. Russians, meanwhile, keep filming everything and sincerely believe that things are changing. In Omsk, Russia, it's time to put on felt boots and a fur coat. Nature is raging and has hit the city with hail. Maybe it's a sign?
The place was covered with massive hail, so much that it formed huge piles. All of this was accompanied by strong squally winds and a fierce thunderstorm.
Meanwhile, Russians are making their own lives worse all by themselves without anyone's help. In Tatarstan, a drone from the Ural civil aviation plant crashed onto the grounds of a private house during testing. The Russians aren't showing any emotion. Oh, didn't you hand it over at the beginning or after the flight?
Here are your own. Here he is. A real beauty.
Here basically when it's a painted plane, it means it's an aircraft that has been coated with paint, which signifies that it is in essence still a plane, just with an added aesthetic or protective layer.
Videos and footage of the aftermath of friendly fire by the Russian armed forces have started spreading on social media. Well, while the locals tried to put out the fire, the local authorities confirmed the crash of a civilian aircraft. Eventually, they confirmed that it was a strike drone.
Altair, also known as Altius, is a Russian medium-altitude, long-endurance drone project designed for reconnaissance, target designation, and strike missions.
This is how the crash of the drone was confirmed right on top of Russians at the Ural civil aviation plant.
The incident occurred as usual. Next, during the flight, unidentified external electronic warfare means disrupted satellite navigation. The drone continued its flight using its inertial navigation system. The landing was carried out in inertial mode. An emergency situation occurred.
The hunt for drones on Russian territory is now officially open. Ukrainian forces eliminated 42 enemies with a single strike, where just yesterday the occupiers were digging in. Today there is only ash and debris. The drones have been turned into scrap, the operators neutralized, and this is just the beginning. A pinpoint strike on a Russian military factory triggered a real collapse. Like dominoes, the whole system is falling apart. We'll show you how this lightning-fast operation ended in just a moment.
They tried to remain unnoticed. They operated far from the front line, in apartments, basements, and disguised locations. But hiding from the armed forces of Ukraine didn't work for long. The greedy Russian occupier turned to dust. The defense forces targeted Russian drones in the Zaporizhia direction. They acted precisely, systematically, and without unnecessary noise. One by one, they drove the enemy out. The operation was named Dronocide. Its results are among the most significant in recent months. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Ukrainian armed forces soldiers identified 90 locations where Russian operators of strike and reconnaissance drones lived and worked. 42
All of the designated targets were completely destroyed or significantly damaged as a result of the operation. That's more than 100 personnel. At a minimum, as practical experience clearly shows, there can be anywhere between 4 and 10 highly skilled drone operators present at a single temporary deployment point, ready to manage operations.
8 units took part in the operation. All of them worked harmoniously with precise coordination, providing both intelligence data as well as
Their own drones. For a drone operator, preparing these requires both time and accordingly financial investment. An operation of this nature can be considered unique. In other words, this is about reducing the occupier army's ability to carry out strikes using FPV drones, both those on fiber optics and accordingly regular FPV drones. Plus, the use of reconnaissance drones has been reduced to a minimum. That is, the occupier army's ability to strike at the logistics of Ukraine's defense forces, destroy personnel, eliminate heavy armored vehicles, influence troop rotations, evacuate the wounded, and deliver ammunition has now been significantly reduced.
But the gifts for the Russian army don't end there. Major General Mikhail Gudkov has joined the list of the dead. He was in command of the 155th Marine Brigade, which is currently attempting to advance on Sumy. According to reports from Telegram channels, Gudkov was eliminated during strikes on the command post in the settlement of Korenevo, which is in the Kursk region. Along with him, 10 officers, most of whom were senior command staff, also set out on the path of purification at the same time.
It's much worse. There were 4 strikes on the forward command post of one of the brigades.
But that's not all. An important facility of the enemy's military-industrial complex was destroyed. The UAV forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in coordination with other defense forces, carried out a strike. It targeted the largest enterprise, Energia, in the city of Yelets-Lipetsk region. The plant is engaged in the serial production of batteries and accumulators for the Russian military's weapon systems. In particular, they do not produce them. These are planning and correction modules of Russian design, which turn ordinary aerial bombs into glide bombs with increased accuracy and range. They also manufacture batteries for operational tactical missiles there. For example, for the Iskander-M, naval cruise missiles Kh-35U, and power modules for specialized systems.
Explosions have been recorded on the territory of the plant. Production has been halted. The results of the strike are being clarified. The defense forces continue to take measures to undermine the military and economic potential of the Russian occupiers and to force the Russian Federation to stop its armed aggression against Ukraine. Further glory to Ukraine, reports the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
At Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport, not a day goes by without a red alert. Overnight, friendly drones once again visited the lower Russian regions. The terrorists' Ministry of Defense claimed to have allegedly shot down 86 UAVs, in particular in the Moscow region, Kursk, Bryansk, Belgorod, Smolensk, Ryazan, Tula, Voronezh, and Oryol regions. Nice one.
I recorded it.
Meanwhile, there was also a commotion in Kursk. On pro-government channels, they were howling about a UAV raid. It was hot in Rostov as well. The fire covered an area of up to 15,000 square meters. The fire was extinguished by 2 emergency service helicopters. An unidentified warehouse and office space were burning. The cause of the fire is also unknown, but the footage is pleasing to the eye because everything Russian is evil. The button of explosions was picked up in the Usinsk district of the Komi Republic. A hellish incident occurred at a Lukoil fuel reservoir. The causes of the explosion are unknown. Lukoil and its sperm subsidiary have not commented on the incident in any way. By the way, with strikes on the Russian Federation, we are gradually depleting the offensive potential of the Russian army. The enemy is becoming increasingly weaker. He feels our impact on his defense industry facilities, which are involved in the production of Shaheds. This is the opinion of Vlada Selezniu, a military journalist.
According to the insights provided by Selezniu, a prominent analyst in the field, it has been observed that individual, isolated strikes targeting Russian oil refineries do not in themselves generate an alarming or significantly disruptive effect on the overall operational capacity or the broader economic landscape. These singular incidents, while potentially causing localized damage and temporary disruptions, are often quickly mitigated or absorbed by the robust infrastructure and strategic reserves of the Russian energy sector. The true and profound danger, however, does not stem from these sporadic one-off occurrences. Instead, the real and substantial threat emerges from the implementation of systematic attacks, which are characterized by their coordinated nature, sustained frequency, and strategic targeting. Such a methodical and persistent campaign of assaults on critical energy infrastructure, particularly oil refineries, would inevitably lead to cumulative damage, widespread operational failures, and a significant long-term impact on Russia's ability to produce, process, and export its vital oil resources. This sustained pressure would not only cripple the immediate production capabilities, but also strain repair resources, deplete reserves, and potentially trigger a cascade of economic and logistical challenges, thereby posing a far more serious and alarming threat than any isolated incident could ever achieve.
Pavlo Lakichuk, head of security programs at the Center, Global Studies Strategy 21.
For the comprehensive and forward-thinking Global Studies Strategy 21 initiative, I recently had the opportunity to engage in a detailed conversation with one of the prominent Russian opposition members, who is also a highly respected and knowledgeable expert from the critical oil industry sector, providing valuable insights into the current geopolitical landscape and economic challenges. And he himself assessed it approximately like this. It seems that each of your strikes does not have such a prolonged, powerful effect. This does not turn into a strategic problem for Russia, but the systematic nature of the strikes, that's what creates insecurity. This happened before Ukraine agreed to a temporary halt to strikes on the enemy's energy systems at Russia's request. This is how The Ministry of Foreign Affairs explained the situation, taking into account every letter, every strike. The facility will remain inactive for several days while the emergency is dealt with, and then it will take several months to restore its capabilities. During this period, it is knocked out of the overall system for supplying equipment, materials, military personnel for export, and so on. If the system is established, then every 4 to 6 ons, the strikes are repeated. Then this doesn't cause any problems because the plant was idle for 4 months, started working again, and then it gets hit once more. And in fact, this process is prolonged for a long time. The key plants of Russian enterprises, the defense industrial complex, the oil and energy sector, these are mainly the ones. It's a methodical process. So if these are not just isolated strikes, but a systematic effort, that's very good. That's what we're seeing now. By the way, at the enterprises of the defense industrial complex, it's the same with chemicals. Chemicals are not targeted by accident. This includes the strike from day before yesterday you mentioned, and before that, the strike on Sergiev Posad, the Institute of Applied Chemistry. That's the applied chemistry they have there, so much so that, God willing, it could seriously disrupt production.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Breaking news from Bolia television. In the Rostov People's Republic, Russians overcoming the resistance of Russian swearing have already started taking Ukrainian language courses from kind drones.
I'm filling. The fence got dented.
Look out! It's about to grab the grass. Put it in. Damn, it completely tore off. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Let me hold on. Our powerful tanks are fully fired up and ready. They will certainly reach their destination.
Junk? Yes, not yet, Russian ladies. They wrote Bacha Russian. Russian bee.
Cold. Well, yes.
By the way, as a result of the attack on 04-07, a UAV of the Special Operations Forces hit 2 buildings of the Azov optical mechanical plant. It is at this plant that high-precision optomechanical assemblies are produced, which are used in missile guidance systems, stabilizers for armored vehicles, navigation and laser devices for aviation UAVs, and electronic warfare. Hellish footage for your attention.
Number with the path to work. It appears there is some kind of significant and ongoing war taking place, causing considerable disruption and conflict. Oh, that's it. Oh no. Not all. A little.
I guess I'll just sleep.
They count that one too.
The Russians are at a loss, trying to guess which drones managed to reach the Krasnozavodsk chemical plant and incinerate it. Ukrainian ocean analysts have revealed the details.
Ukrainian long-range FP-1 drones were used in the attack on the Russian defense plant in Krasnozavodsk. This is great news, as February now has an assistant with a larger warhead.
Governor Vorobyov stated in the morning that supposedly 4 drones fell in the Sergeyev Posad district of the Moscow region and the power went out. However, he preferred not to mention other issues, such as the strike on the plant. He did not mention them. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed that drones were shot down over the Moscow region. And not only there, nearly 100 drones flew at once toward 14 regions of Russia and the temporarily occupied Crimea.
Air defense systems destroyed and intercepted 91 Ukrainian fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles.
Such activity has already become routine for Russia. Major Russian airports have been paralyzed by a collapse. This has been going on for several days now.
Thank you very much for your continued support.
Flights are cancelled, passengers are in a panic. Moscow and St. Petersburg have become a real trap for tourists. A similar situation is also seen in Yekaterinburg, Nizhny Novgorod and Kaliningrad. Departures and arrivals are paralyzed. Rosaviatsia tried to justify it by saying it was all due to strong winds and also because of the drone attacks. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones are feeling right at home. They completely destroyed 2 military airfields at once. Among those hit were Engels in the Saratov region and Litovice in Borisoglepsk, Voronezh region.
A depot with guided aerial bombs was hit, as well as a combat training aircraft and likely other planes.
The Russians sincerely believed that by the power of thought alone, they could make the drones fall short and not reach their targets. However, things didn't turn out as they had hoped.
Let's listen now.
At the same time, for the second time this summer, the defense forces struck the AT Vendir Progress's plant in Cheboksary. This is how epic it was. Whoa, just imagine the sheer spectacle unfolding before your very eyes, a moment of breathtaking grace and astonishing speed. You, with an almost ethereal lightness and an incredible surge of power, effortlessly propel yourself through the air, soaring with an unparalleled swiftness that defies gravity itself. Your trajectory is precise, your movement fluid, as you navigate the open space, making your way directly over here. The air rushes past you, a testament to your incredible velocity. Yet you maintain an astonishing control, a perfect balance. As you approach, your focus is singular, your intention clear. With a gentle deceleration, you come to a soft, almost imperceptible halt, hovering momentarily. Then, with a deliberate and tender motion, you extend your hand, not merely offering but presenting with a profound sense of care and affection. In your grasp, a magnificent, vibrant and exquisitely arranged bouquet of fresh carnations. Each bloom is a testament to natural beauty, their petals unfurling in a symphony of rich, inviting colors. Perhaps a deep crimson, a soft pink, or a pristine white, each shade radiating its own unique charm. The delicate, sweet fragrance of the flowers wafts through the air, a subtle perfume that enhances the moment, creating an atmosphere of warmth and tenderness. You carefully, almost reverently, hand this beautiful floral offering to her, a gesture imbued with deep meaning, a silent declaration of admiration and affection. This isn't just a simple exchange. It's a moment suspended in time. A grand romantic gesture that speaks volumes without a single word, leaving an indelible impression and creating a cherished memory.
This is what mourning looks like in Vladivostok for the eliminated general. From this square to the place where Gudkov died is almost 10,000 kilometers. The deputy commander of the Russian Navy was sent on eternal leave in the Kursk region, not far from the border with Ukraine. Russian public channels report that this was made possible by 4 missile strikes on the command post.
This clearly shows that Ukraine is now finding ways to obtain precise information about the whereabouts of these individuals and has the weaponry very often domestically produced. Mostly domestically, Produshetto strike the locations where these high-ranking officials are stationed.
Along with the deputy fleet commander, at least 10 more officers of the occupying forces were eliminated.
He took part in the battles in Mariupol, and our soldiers, our intelligence officers say that he was involved in indiscriminate strikes on residential neighborhoods, in the shootings of our soldiers and our civilians. So you could say that justice has caught up with the hero.
Before becoming a general, Mikhail Gudkov was the commander of the 155th Marine Brigade, infantry. In addition to crimes in Mariupol, he also stormed Bucha, Irpin and Hostomel. He also took photos with Putin aboard a submarine and received awards from Shoigu. The loss of their major general has already been confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense, and officials from Primorsky Krai contributed to the mournful mood among the residents of Vladivostok. Due to the general's elimination, the city's day celebration on the central square was cancelled. A few more reasons for Russians to be sad. In the occupied Donbass, a long-range missile struck an Abkhazian national, Froslan Goryachkin, the commander of Russia's 8th Army. His elimination was reported by an Abkhazian telegram channel. There is no official confirmation at this time.
Russian propaganda often tries to create certain narratives around such individuals and attempts not to show that something has happened to them.
Our experts say that this commander played a key role in decision-making at the front and ensured the execution of combat missions.
We can see that they are being destroyed. Key figures who were involved and continued until the very last moment to be responsible for the offensives at the hottest spots and directions. Those who were responsible for Mariupol, for Bakhmut, for many other devastated and destroyed Ukrainian cities.
An interesting question is whether will they be able to find among all that variety of human cannon fodder people who will match or surpass their predecessors who were eliminated.
And also, Russian public channels reported the elimination in Crimea of the commander of the Black Sea Fleet. They write that Ildar Akhmerov was killed as a result of a strike by our HUR. And once again, the so-called Z-War correspondents are hysterical and demanding retaliatory strikes on decision-making centers. Decision-making. Although there has been no official confirmation of the elimination of this admiral either.
Ultimately, this series of operations took place literally over just these few days. That's why, in fact, the Russians are now experiencing a bit of panic about what exactly happened and how.
According to open sources, nearly 24 generals have died as a result of Putin's aggression. And in this list, there are only those whose loss has been officially confirmed by the Russian authorities. The actual number could be much higher.
There are some Russians, even among the military, who view such a strike positively. Perhaps they see it as revenge for previous losses of Russian soldiers during local assaults. They say, serves you right, you were the one sending the guys into assaults. But no one can say this out loud.
The list of deceased Russian soldiers by name is compiled by Mediazona together with the BBC and a team of volunteers. As of now, they have counted only the fallen Russian officers, 1,285. The data is collected from open sources, and they acknowledge that the real number of losses is much higher. Rostislav Sisovik, We Are Ukraine, Marathon, United News.
How do you assess the scale of the strikes against the enemy? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button under the video, and stay up to date with the main news. There are almost 440,000 of us subscribed. More to come. See you soon!